Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm sorry in advance if you can't hear me very well. I'm trying to be quiet. There are people still asleep in my house. Also, my allergies are just like kicking my ass. Um, I'm alive. I know it's been a while. We'll catch up later, I swear. But this is kind of important first. So I need to start this off by saying that yes, if you if you haven't noticed already, or if you're new here, I am an anxious person. My brain tends to pull things out and make them much, much larger than they actually are. So I am trying to approach this in as rational and discerning a way as possible and look at all angles and really get the facts. That said, there's anxiety, and then there's things that make your skin crawl. I just watched a video. The Lady Grave Dancer did a live where she talked about a pastor pastor named John Locke, Locke with an E, out of Tennessee in America. And thank you very, very much, Lady Grave Dancer, for that, because I had not heard of this person yet. It's not really a world that I run in, and it was very enlightening to me to see. I will link her video and all of the videos that I talk about down below so you can go watch them yourself and make your own opinions. So Mr. Locke has come into the news lately, and national news lately, over the past couple of weeks, because he has been inspiring his congregation to oust witches. Now, all the news articles I was finding were relatively recent, over the past couple of weeks, and I wanted to know, like, okay, well, where'd this guy just magically spring from? You know, what's the backstory here? Well, he has a YouTube, and he's been on YouTube for about 6 years. And so if you look him up and go back, uh, he's been saying some very disturbing things for a very long time.
You're exactly right. But killing and self-defense and protection of yourself and your family are two very different things. Killing is premeditated murder that's based on hatred, bitterness, pride, prejudice. But protecting yourself, hey, that's a biblical and that's a Second Amendment right. Furthermore, let me say this. To all of you bleeding heart liberals who believe that God is a pacifist and he would never have us defend ourselves, he doesn't want to initiate any type of a war. Are you kidding me? Have you read the back of the Bible, the book of Revelation? God himself is going to initiate the greatest war in all of human history, and at his own hand, there's going to be so much bloodshed, the Bible says it will flow in the streets up to the horse's mouth. Know this, Jesus told the disciples, sell your stuff, go buy a sword, because he knew there was coming a day in which they needed to defend. Gun control means using both hands. So I use this to protect me from devils. But I use this, ladies and gentlemen, to protect me from dummies. Meaning there are still people that would deny the reality of that historical event. Oh, it took place. It's amazing how quickly it took place. All they needed was a charismatic leader to basically say, these people, this group of people, are hindering our progress. Let's annihilate them. It's coming again. The media is going to spin it any way they jolly well please. And they are going to have charismatic leaders that stand up and say, these outspoken Christians, they are a hindrance to our progress. You know, it's amazing to me, the people that begged for tolerance for so many years, once we gave them toleration, now they have absolutely none. And the outspoken Bible thumpers, well, they're a hindrance to homosexual progress. I'm telling you. If you say anything remotely demeaning about Islam, now you're an Islamophobic. Are you kidding me? I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting closer and closer. Jesus even said there's going to be a day when they will deliver you up to the judges, and they will deliver you up to be tortured, and they will deliver you up to be killed. When that day is going to be, I don't know, but I'm here to tell you, there will be another Holocaust. I call it the Christian Holocaust. I know denominationally that crosses a lot of lines, but for those of us that stand up and really believe the gospel and actually say something about it, we're a hindrance to their liberal progress. And they're ticked off about it. And I'm telling you, they would love to silence us. They would love to gather us up, put us in jail, shut our mouths, stop our Facebook and YouTube channels. They would love nothing more than for us to shut our mouth and let them ruin this country.
Shush, shush. I can't anymore. Hold on. So this was Holocaust Memorial Day, like 6 years ago, and this is a theme that I'm seeing in a lot of his videos, as he will latch on to a current event, a tragic event, a mass shooting, Memorial Day, like it's just a thing that is not about him, and then draw people in and then twist it to where, oh, but it's about us and what we're trying to do.
But you know, there's only a few things that someone would have to do in an undermining way to totally destroy the foundations of America and allow us to rotten from the inside out. So if I wanted to destroy America, I wouldn't do it quickly. I'd do it slowly and subtly over time. I would make those who are true conservatives feel misplaced, ill advised, and irresponsible with what they actually believe. I would redefine traditional marriage and undermine the family and make gay rights a civil rights movement so that if anyone speaks out against it, the law would strongly be against them. I'd make
He goes on for a couple more minutes in this same vein, and I don't want to. I'm not really sure at what point we get into like copyright issues, so I'm not going to play the whole thing. Um, I just want to bring up that some of the best advice that I've ever gotten is if you listen, people will tell you exactly what they are.
if you are a leftist, if you're on the side of the Democrats, there are no consequences. You don't get spit on at restaurants. You don't get protested. Nobody camps outside of your front yard. Nobody cusses you online. There's no repercussions for what you stand for. You can go anywhere you want to. People don't ban you from shopping in their stores or patronizing their restaurants. People don't badger you. You get no death threats. You really get nothing. There's no consequences to the nonsense that the left believes. But if you say that you're a conservative, if you say that you're a conservative that supports Donald Trump, and then if you dare say that you're a conservative that supports Donald Trump and you're a Christian, they'll practically burn your house to the ground. Churches are the new target. If you don't believe that, you ought to sue your brain for non support. They are coming after our churches. They are coming after our bold pastors. That's why there's too many limp wristed, mamby-pamby, lay down and roll over pastors who aren't standing up and standing out. The churches should be open. There are no excuses. I'm telling you, I will go to jail before I will close our church. They will be selling Frosties in the lake of fire before Greg Locke and Global Vision Bible Church ever closes down. I don't care if they send the military, they roll up in there with tanks, ladies and gentlemen. We are staying open. We are packed to capacity. You ain't got to wear a mask. We're not social distancing. Yes, I'm fired up. Yes, I'm mad at the devil. And you hear me? Got to stand up. We've got to push back. Bunch of silly man-made mandates, bunch of non-laws, if you will. It's time to fight back. Quit being silent. Quit being a coward. Quit being afraid. Quit just complying with all the foolish rules and regulations that mean nothing to God or His kingdom whatsoever. Because look, we're going to fight back. We are not putting up with tyranny. We are not putting up with nonsense. If you don't believe the church is under persecution, you are not paying attention. Get your head out of the sand. Quit living in this foolish, utopian, socialistic society that CNN and the media has painted for you. We're in a battle. This means war. We pray, Father,
His
that you
band has
release
a.
us right now
They're
with the
amazing, by the
spirit
way.
of gifting and
Whoever
generosity.
this lady is that sings at his sermons is glorious.
I said, I do not get caught up in the moment and just say things half-cocked. I said, I so believe in the authority of the Word of God that I create the moment because I know what people need to hear under that tent, what people need to hear in this church. I'm very calculated in every word that comes out of my mouth, so you can take it to the bank. If I say it from the pulpit, there ain't no reason to try to get me to apologize for it. I done thought about it before it came out of my mouth.
This one takes a little bit of context. So he is supposedly reading a letter that his legal team got from somewhere, and it is what he is reading is the writing of another person, so it's not supposed to have been coming directly from him. But you know your audience, buddy. So listen to this.
Misanthropes. I'll tell you you honestly, for many of them, only a removal would actually help. That's what you do with dangerous animals that get too close to the settlements. These people are much more dangerous than any animal. Tens of thousands more people will die because of their propaganda. Would it really be a crime to take out 250 people in order to save tens of thousands? Of course, this is purely hypothetical question because I don't want to incite anyone to do anything, which is obviously written in sarcasm, because that would be punishable by the law. But how many people would not have died in World War II if the 250 worst Nazis had been taken out ahead of time? In the coming weeks and months, however, these people, these 250 people, these people will realize that you can cause them big problems even without physical violence. All it takes is a notebook. Just a lie, just a smear campaign. Just get into their bank account. Just mess their life up any way that you possibly can. And of the 250, they then list the top A-lister celebrities, if you will, that are the biggest.
Okay, again, this is him reading criticism of himself because he's on this list. Um, but if you watch when he says all it takes is a notebook, he's not reading off the screen anymore. He's eyeballing the camera. Maybe he had it memorized? I don't know. You watch it yourself. You know what? On one hand, I have a lot of respect for this guy. He's a smooth talker, and I wish I could speak that well in front of people. He is very charismatic, he's very charming, he is very, very good at what he does, and he is very, very passionate about what he is saying and his church, and I have a lot of respect for that. And while I personally don't agree with damn near anything he's saying, he has the right to say it. Mr. Locke and I live in America, and we have the constitutional right to free speech, which is awesome. And he can say whatever he wants, and I can say whatever I want, and life is good. But when you go back and I haven't seen all of his videos, I haven't been on his Facebook or his any other social media, but when you go back and you kind of put all the pieces together and you pick up on a little bit here and a little bit there and you find a pattern, he's building this world where his church is the underdog. And he's convincing his followers that they are downtrodden, they are unheard, they have been ignored and cast aside and all these horrible things, and it is time for them to step up and into their power, and they have the authority given by God to cast out demons. I'm trying to keep this in some kind of logical flow because it could I know I could ramble about it. The concern is who you consider demons, and he does have a whole sermon in there where he takes half the time and explains that, oh, the media has this twisted. I never said any of these people were possessed by demons. It's all semantics. I said they're affected by demons and dark spirits. But the people that he says are affected by demons are autistic children and depressed people and people who self-harm, and children who have fits, children who don't listen to their parents and have emotional outbursts, and witches. So now we're back up to the latest. The news is that very recently he held a sermon where he said, some of my congregation are witches. They're in this room right now. I have their first and last names. I have their addresses. And since you have already established that these are the worst of the worst kind of people, and that your followers should be ready to fight for what they believe in, you're breeding a dangerous environment for what are most likely completely innocent, unknowing people that just want to worship. By the by, you want to talk about the book burning? Because that's a thing too. That's a thing that happened a couple weeks ago. They had themselves a good old fashioned family fun book burning out in the backyard, which they got a permit for, did entirely on private property, all up on the up and up and legal, and they gathered up all of their occult materials that somehow they just happen to have laying around the house. All of their books, all of their Harry Potter movies, all of their crystals and sage, and they tossed all this stuff that is, not the best for the environment onto this massive bonfire in the backyard. While this is, you know, technically legal and okay for them to do, it's fucking terrifying. um, there, and many people have said it, there are obvious parallels between this and Nazi Germany back in the 30s. My brain, again, anxious little brain, saw this crowd of hundreds and hundreds of people standing around, and the size of the fire, and went, how many bodies do you think you could fit in there? I'm not saying there were. I'm not saying there were. I'm just saying that Satanist that bounced in there and threw the Bible on the fire had balls of fucking steel. Because they could have very easily not let him leave the circle. Also, it's mighty convenient that as they were filming this, the audio cut out right as they went outside, so we have no idea what they were talking about out there. So what do we do? What do we do? Does anything need to be done? Is the question. Because again, while it's terrifying, he hasn't done anything illegal, as far as I know. Hasn't done anything illegal so far. Has been very, very careful to phrase things well, and so it is not out in your face that he's up to no good. Even though it kind of is. They said it really well on Lady Grave Dancers Live. Like, he's safe. He's safe. He has money. He has power. He is basically building his own personal army. And so there is not a lot that, if, let's say, the witchcraft community wanted to get together and hex him, I don't know if we necessarily could. I don't personally believe that it would be constructive or, frankly, a good look for us if we all, say, spammed his Facebook page with witchy memes or, commented on his videos. I couldn't hold my tongue and I left one comment because who else likes to break generational curses, cast out evil spirits, and release things by burning them, right? Right. So I couldn't help myself. I did one. You get one free snarky comment. But no, I don't think trolling him online is going to be the way to do anything. Educate yourselves. Do research. It's all right there, online, free to read. Take a couple hours, dig into it, watch and make your own opinions. Don't take mine for granted. That's not what we're here for. Read and learn and understand what's going on. And then spread the word. Signal boost. Get it out there however you can that this is a thing. Because again, I didn't know. I had no idea. And you can believe that, he's not the first. He's not the first person to have this is a thing all over the South and probably all over the world. Um, he certainly won't be the last pastor to uh, rally passionate people behind him for a cause. And as you share this, don't keep it on your witchy pages. Like, actually share this, put it out in the world. Um, as soon as I heard about this, what popped into my head was that poem. You guys know the poem? First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. I think he thinks we're small. I think we're a stepping stone of sorts. I think he thinks we are easy to pick on and a good group to start with because the traditional idea of the witch is the little old lady in the hut at the edge of the woods on the outskirts of the village, and there are only one in every ancient ancient forest, right? Um, but we're not small. That's the thing. We're not small, and the beautiful thing about our community is that it intersects with so many other communities. I like to think of us as the mycorrhizal network under trees. Trees have this cool symbiotic relationship with fungi, where the fungi live in and around the roots of the tree, and they form these beautiful fibrous pathways between trees, miles and miles and miles away, and the trees can actually talk to each other. The trees can actually pass nutrients and nurture each other through the mycorrhizal network. Really, really cool. I geek about trees sometimes. But that's kind of what we're like, the witches, the witchy folk. Um, we're not just witches. We don't fall into one category. There are, I mean, some of us are just witches, but um, send this to your gay witch friends. Send this to your disabled witch friends. Send this to your black witch friends. Send this to your feminist witch friends. Like, we all connect, and so we all have to stand in this together because it's not just affecting us. We all need to be aware of what's going on right now. So I know this is getting kind of long. I want to end it with this. I am not afraid of this man. I'm not. I am not afraid of the snakes in my backyard. I know they're there. I've educated myself about them, so I know how to act if I ever do come across them. But I'm not afraid of them. Stay safe out there, witches.